Hey guys, so today I'll be speaking on a topic on how climate change is a real thing occurring in our world. So the topic of climate change has been a pretty controversial one throughout the years. Many people going back and forth if it's even real or not. But climate change is an undeniable reality that we do face. So I hope I'll be able to persuade you that climate change is indeed real, and if you already believe so, to further your knowledge on the topic. The reality of climate change is evidenced by scientific research, increasing frequency of extreme weather events, and observable environmental changes, and human influence. It is important that we should acknowledge this reality so we can take urgent action to decrease its impacts in our world. I'm going to cover the scientific research, global warming, human influence, melting polar ice caps, and what we need to do for change. Scientific research confirms the reality of climate change. A study published in the Journal of Environmental Science by Smith and Johnson 2023 concludes the impact of climate change on coral reefs are significant and concerning. Additionally, the United States Environmental Protection Agency states in their climate change indicators report that sea levels have risen significantly over the past century, posing serious threats to coastal regions. So considerably, I grew up in the Philippines, so give a little bit of backstory on my personal views on climate change. And during this time, we went diving, we went swimming, and we'd see these beautiful coral reefs. So hearing about how they're starting to diminish and break and eventually are going to be gone in the future really just breaks my heart. And how climate levels have increased sea levels, that explains how islands have been getting washed up and that have been more and more throughout the years getting serious effects by storms and tsunamis. I'm going to be talking about now the global trends of climate change. Global warming trends provide concrete evidence of climate change. According to data from NASA's Global Climate Change, Vital Signs of the Planet, the average global temperature has increased about 1.2 degrees Celsius since the late 19th century. This has been the highest it's been since forever. This warming trend is an indicator of the ongoing impact of climate change on the planet. And now we're going to go on to the human influence on climate change. We are the number one contributors to the effects of climate change. Human activities, especially the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, are major contributors to climate change. The International Government Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, Fifth Assessment Reports, AR5, states that humans' influence on the climate system is clear, and recent anthropogenic emissions of greenhouse gases are the highest it's been in history. This highlights the urgent need to address our role in driving climate change. And the melting polar ice caps provides undeniable evidence of climate change impact. A study published in Nature Communication highlights accelerating our loss in Greenland and Antarctica is contributing to sea levels and habitat loss for polar wildlife. That explains all the polar videos have you been seeing about how polar bears have been sliding off the ice and it's been melting, and those are their homes. We are starting to diminish their homes due to climate change. And additionally, Scientific America discusses the ecological impacts of polar ice melt on Arctic wildlife, including habitat loss and species migrations, meaning they're having to move from one place to another that's not even their home, and they don't know if they're suitable for that type of climate. Now we need to go into the most important topic, the actions for change. To decrease the impacts of climate change, urgent action is needed at individual communities and global levels. The International Renewable Energy, IRENA, provides data on global renewable energy capacity and trends emphasizing the importance of transitioning to renewable energy. So a really good example of this has been Tesla cars and how they have used gases that equals to renewable energy instead of our normal gas. Summary: energy policy evaluates the impacts of energy efficiency measurements on carbon emissions, highlighting the role of enhancing energy efficiency in reducing our carbon footprint. So today I've explained to you why we should recognize the value of climate change and take action to decrease it. We need to build a more sustainable future, not even for ourselves, but for the future generations throughout the years. If this is how climate change is impacting us now, just imagine in a couple years, in 10, 50 years, what will happen to our world? If there will be trees, the high impact of sea levels will eventually take away islands that we so love and so want to visit. So really just like importing how polar bears, are they going to be extinct in 50 years? Is Antarctica going to be melted? Really putting in these hard questions in our mind really just needs to bring in the harsh reality about how we need to take action to change climate change, how to decrease its impacts, and how there still is hope to decrease it. When you look through how the world was 100 years ago, before all these new technology keeps on coming and coming and going, that equals to more gas, more production of fossil fuels. The world 100 years ago would be unrecognizable, seeing the world how it is compared now. So I presented you scientific research confirming climate change, highlighted global warming trends, discussed of the human influence on climate change, and explored the melting ice core caps and outlined actions for change. I really hope I persuade you that climate change is real, and if you've already believed so, further your actions on trying to decrease the climate change in our world. Digital footprint is a really big one, and we can change by changing their lights, turning off your lights when you leave the house, not taking up so much gas. I know it's hard when cars are big essentials in our life, but even instead of using bikes or walking there are all very much ways we can do to decrease our digital footprint in the world. Thank you.